Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video from your boy Tim. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be hyped because right now we're going through a lot. The world's hurting. The world's ill. It's hurting right now. Yeah, so if you haven't noticed, which is weird if you haven't, we're going through this thing of sorts. Let's just call it the 19. All right, so those who are out there, small businesses, let's stick together, y'all. We gotta stick together because it's getting rough, you know what I'm saying? But I already know things was going to turn out for the good. So with that being said, I figured why not start dropping some more educational content, because it's been a while, about a month, maybe a month and a half since I uploaded my last video. So if you haven't, please go ahead and check that video out. I believe it's the one where I did the behind the scenes of how to shoot an engagement session. So I really hope that you all enjoyed that, and trust, more behind the scenes is coming soon. So hold on to that. Today we're going to be discussing how to pose your clients better, how to pose people in general, from awkward to professional, whatever the case. This is a good all-around video for those who are more experienced to those who are more kind of beginnerish, whatever. Pretty much applies to any area that you're in terms of photography. Now, before we begin, I want to say that I am not a guru. I'm not saying that I'm the best photographer in the world. I'm still learning, still growing. So basically look at it as if we're learning together. All right, so as you can see, this is more of a, I want to say, natural candid pose. So what I've done to get this type of shot is a couple of things. First of all, you can see the background. The way I framed it is pretty much the arches is over them in the middle, and then also you see the lamp in between them. So when you are posing, just try to make sure you look out for the background elements, because you want a clean background, but also make sure that it's centered, make sure your framing is pretty much to the point where you're satisfied. With this one, pretty much what I've done is that I started them kind of like maybe 6 or 10 feet before they got this close to me. The lens that I'm using is the 24 to 120 millimeter lens. So I got in real tight, and I didn't really need to blur the background out too completely. So yeah, that's that part. So basically what I've done, I instructed the couple just to walk towards me. That's pretty much, you can find that honestly anywhere on YouTube on how to pose, you know, couples. But that's one of the things that I go to, especially for the beginning process, you know, the icebreaker, because sometimes couples come in excited but a little nervous. So you want to come in and give them the instructions of how to do it, so that way they can flow into the rest of the session. So yeah, basically I told her to wrap her arms around him, and for him to have his right hand in his pocket. You know, the hands sometimes just be there, you know, kind of weird. So I just put his hands in his pocket, and it comes out pretty nice. So this one was a nice shot because of the natural reaction they had towards each other, and that's something that I want. So this right here is a great example of the natural / candid type pose that you can use for any type, you know, of situation. So that way it goes right beautifully into the gallery. So yeah, this one will definitely have that. So kind of breaking it down, starting from the top of his head on down to the feet. So the head positioning, again, for this being natural, they're looking at each other. So I'm telling them to look at each other as they're walking towards me. As far as the hands, again, hers is around his is like that, you know, the gentleman's, you know, pose in terms of walking the lady down. And then of course his right hand in his pocket. Now the feet, they naturally did that to their legs and to their feet. I didn't have to tell them to position them or to stand a certain way. So this is definitely fall under to the natural side. So on to the next photo, we have this one. So this one is dramatic. The thing is about this shot is that the blue tones, and then of course the off-camera flash on the bottom. Now it does, and I can, you know, see how people kind of get this like mixture of natural light from that light down there, because it could be like a door opening, a bright sun coming in, or it can be like a sunset. But honestly, this is an off-camera flash setting I have. So basically what I've done is position a couple in the middle, and I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in so you can see. So she's looking towards the light and he's looking downwards above her head. And the reason why I have this that way is because wherever my light is pointing at, I want to make sure the bride, or in this case, this couple here, make sure that her head is towards the light, because we want to show her face. Now, I know you can't see the face, you know, when I zoom back out like this, I know you can't see her face, but still knowing those things and putting those in perspective still comes out with a great photo. Now, this one here is more of the natural posing. This is not necessarily candid because I pretty much pose them to look like this. So what I've done is have her look towards me, and I told him, I said, hey, Chris, go ahead and give her a kiss on the cheek. And I told her, hey, just keep looking at me while I give you a kiss. So the smile and the shoulder adjustment was all natural from her. And what I've done is basically allow them to have that moment. And then from that moment, just took a lot of images to where, you know, to where I can pick this one. This one made it out of the batch that I took. So again, with the editing style, all I've done was place, you know, them like the rule of thirds. Those who don't know, the rule of thirds is pretty much offsetting the couple or a subject, you know, off center. And then also I placed like this orange, kind of like this orange flare. It's not, you can't see the flare, but it's basically, if you look at her hair, you can tell that it's this like vintage type of color. So thought that was a pretty cool touch to it. On to the next one. So what we have here is more of a natural / candid. So what I've done is pretty much pose them here. I told her to put her left hand on his chest so I can get the ring shot. And then all of a sudden they just connected heads, and I thought, oh, why not frame them with the ring shot? So I thought that was pretty cool. So on your next shoot, try to implement more detailed shots with them included, so that way it's more personable. So yeah, that's pretty much on that shot. And then this one is more of a dramatic shot as well. I know from this dramatic shot here and from this one, this is what I want to touch on. You don't have to have off-camera flash to get a dramatic shot. This is done with all natural light. The biggest part of this is the posing. So as you can see, let's go ahead and zoom in here. This is how I constructed it. So basically what I had them do is had Chris this straight to the front. I told him to turn around, look straight to the front. And then I had Jeanette pretty much turn towards me, but holding him. Now, sometimes you have to run up to the couple to demonstrate the exact pose you're going for. And that's what I've done. And this last one here, as you can see, she had a slit in her dress. So I told her, why not kick her leg out to give that, you know, feeling like, oh yeah, this is, you know, they rocking this thing out for real. And with her expression, as you can see, she's not smiling. There's no like romantic thing going. It's more like a powerhouse pose in terms of her look. So check this out. The message of this pose is basically him having confidence in her, and she's looking at the camera like, yeah, this is my man. This is my king, you feel me? So I'm trying to always find a story in the posings that I do so it doesn't feel too random. So yeah, dramatic pose number 2, natural light. You don't have to have flash to get that. All right, so this one here, again, goes to the natural posing. And as you can see, I have the framing set up here. Basically, the arch is between them. And then I have right here in front of my camera, something I can play with. So I can blur out some of the grass here and really get the focus into the couple. So all I did here was tell them to connect heads and just embrace the moment. You know, sometimes you just gotta let them do their thing. So that's another natural pose there. And here's another dramatic shot. And this is done all in camera. So what I've done is a simple trick. All you gotta do is take your phone like this. And as you can see, or just take your phone out and just look at it, kind of moving up and down, you will see like different like reflections coming off. So all I did was have the camera on top and then put this underneath the lens and kind of just move it up and down. So that's how I got this shot here. And it's another dramatic shot. Again, if you zoom in, we already have the couple pose ready to go. And then I just added that element. So if you want to wow your clients, just do stuff like that. Trust me, like they're going to be like, you're a magician. You're freaking crazy. And then here we have another natural. This is more candid. Basically on this one, I pretty much had them sit on the bench and I told him, hey, whisper something in her ear, and off her reaction, I pretty much got it, took a lot of shots. And this one came out one of the best shots in terms of all the other ones. And a second one. So these two are the best one that I got out of the batch. And it was super fun. Like you can see that she's smiling. There's nothing forced. They're having fun. He's whispering, whatever they whispering, let them keep that. Don't ask him what he just whispered in their ear. Please don't. And then lastly from this couple, this falls under the natural side, no candid. So yes, it's candid, but when I mean natural is that I told her to lift her left leg up just a little bit and then pretty much hold each other and just smile into each other. So this one is really great just for that feminine touch Nothing crazy, nothing basic, just a little bit of oomph. And as you can see in the background, I blurred just enough. Just a nice blurred touch. You don't have to go full 1.2, 1.8 on it. You can just go really nice and soft, and boom, it just stands out. All right, so here we have Tanae and Kingsley. I love you guys. All right, so basically we were at the Disney Hall in this particular session. Again, engagement session. And pretty much, as you can kind of tell, all my couples pretty much have this formal look going on, and that's pretty much the vision that they like. And then also it just makes for good images. So if your couple is asking, what should I wear in my engagement session? Just tell them, like, think of it as a dinner date. As you're going out with each other, what would you wear? And then that's pretty much how it goes. Or simpler terms, send them images or example shots and stuff like that. So yeah, so pretty much on this one, again, this is a natural shot. All I did was tell her to just approach him, had him lean against the rail, and put her right hand onto his chest. Now, the reason why I have couples do this in the beginning is just because, you know, it's a good icebreaker to have. So that's pretty much my style in terms of the intro into engagement sessions. So yeah, hopefully you can use that tip. So anyway, yeah, they're smiling at each other, they're just warming up, and everything's looking really, really solid here. So again, natural pose, very simple. And then here, all I did was tell him, hey, just lift your finger under her chin, bring her in a little bit. And that's all I do. Sometimes I just tell them a couple of things and they just fall right into it. It's just beautiful. So again, natural candid shot here, his finger under her chin, very nice and subtle. Really, really, really love the shot. Now this shot here is more dramatic. So as you can kind of see, my dramatic shots are definitely posed, but this one is not. The craziest thing is that they actually fell into this pose. If you want to actually check out the behind the scenes of this shot, definitely look at my last video on how to shoot an engagement session. You will see this shot. Basically, what happened was we was actually moving to another location, and he stepped in front of her, and I seen it, and I was like, yo, you need to stop. Let's fix this. And basically, I pretty much like touched up the pose a bit with her hands and her placement of her right hand and her left hand. So yes, it was definitely my involvement that got this shot. But if it wasn't for him stepping in front of her, I wouldn't have thought of this. So what I'm trying to say is that always keep an eye out, even if you're moving to different locations, because sometimes the couple will pose accidentally. So please look out for that. Don't turn your head and start walking off. Just keep an eye, because you'll be surprised on what you might find in that moment. So again, so just kind of just tell you how I got this shot, or more so how I pretty much touched this up. All I did was pretty much have his face kind of block half of hers, and then I put her right hand around his back to show the ring off. And then of course here with her hand, usually I tell the ladies to put their hands on their hip, but the way her figure is set up, she don't have to do that. Why? Because her hips are already, you know, shaped in a way where it still gives off that, you know, very strong posing feel and dramatic, you know, vibe to it. So with that being said, just told her to put her right hand down, left hand on his back, told him to put his hand in his pocket. And what I've done was told him also to move his left foot up just a tad, just to kind of, you know, get that separation a little bit. So this is pretty much the outcome of that. Beautiful shot. One of the, it's funny because when they posted this on their Instagram, a lot of people was raving about it. So it was pretty awesome. In this particular shot, he's looking towards, not looking towards me, but his body is facing me. And then I have him look kind of slanted down towards her, and then she's looking at me with her hand around his hand. So again, like, just mix it up, try different things, maybe have them both look at each other with her eyes closed, or whatever the case. Just, you know, experiment. So we're going to the next one here, same thing. So if you notice, we're actually still at the same location, never went anywhere. So don't be afraid to change up things at the same spot, because you want to keep that momentum, you want to keep that going. So definitely just think about that. But again, like, just have her lean to him. He's standing there, you know, with a strong base foundation, and she's like basically, you know, telling him that I trust you. So let's go to the next one. Again, this one falls under what? Natural or candid, depending on how you pose them. Again, told them to connect heads. They did it. Beautiful turnout. Really love this shot. And here's another dramatic shot. Just told them to hold hands. I just got real wide, and took the whole entire, not the whole, the whole entire building, but just enough to kind of give emphasis on the massive, you know, symmetry going on here. And then of course, detail shots I always need. And I would say this for you all, try to get as much details as you can, but not too much. I would say three should be enough of the ring shot. So that way they have something to display on their invitations or website. You know, just think about those things going on to your next shoot. And here's another one, holding hands with the ring shot and another dramatic shot. And again, bust out that phone. I'm telling y'all need to bust out this phone. Trust me, it's gonna save you. All right, so what I did, I crouched down, got the camera, got the phone, and adjusted. Took the shot. So this one was really cool. I told him to put his hand under his chin. And again, this all goes to the behind the scenes engagement session. So if you haven't, again, check it out. I'll put a link in the description as well. And then here we go as far as the candid stuff. So all she did was put her hand around his head. She's smiling, he's looking at her, you know, just simple stuff like that. And here's another dramatic shot. So what I did was actually I had the light stand on the right side and then told them to kiss, got the whole angle in terms of the building, and that's pretty much it. So when you go out and pose, try to envision certain things. So that way when you get to the location, you're already set to go. Same thing here. Off camera flash. And of course, lastly, my creative side. I pretty much had a fractal, I think it's called a fractal prism of some sort. So what I've done is place a pink gel in the background and had them together, but separate enough so you can see the outline of their faces. And then all I did was have this prism in front of my lens, and it created this pretty much repetitive type of feel going on with their heads, and it came out pretty cool. Like, if you have it, try to throw in something creative so they can look at it and then, you know, appreciate the fact that you went over and beyond for their engagement session or wedding. So there you go. All right, so in the last couple we have is Tiffany and Jesus, calm-spirited people. That's for sure. All right, so with them, it's quite different. Not different in terms of posing and stuff, but just like this the scenery. Like now we got some greenery going on. We outdoors and, you know, super, you know, excited for this particular set. Here we go. So basically in the first shot we have here is candid. So all I did, again, have her wrap her arms around him. They look at each other, they're walking towards me. So that way I can get their reaction. It's pretty simple in that terms. And then here, all I did was change the scenery. And I told him to look straight to me. She looked in at him, and they just, honestly, I didn't even tell them that. They actually was just joking or talking about something, and she was just laughing, he's laughing, and he just so happened to look at me at that moment. So, and you know, with that being said, sometimes just allow them to talk. Just ask them, how long have you guys been together? And you never know, like you get a cool reaction from that for candid moments. So, you know, just think about that. And again, same thing, they're looking at each other. Frame wise, got the rule of thirds popping off and everything else. Now I know there's like people on the side here. This is a public area, so it kind of makes sense. So I don't need to go out and, you know, edit those people out. But yeah, that's one of those things. And here we have again them walking towards me. Definitely beautiful reactions here. Both smiling, I love it. Same thing here, they're walking towards me, and candid moment. There we go. You know, so sometimes couples just want to be candid, and that's totally fine. At the same time, don't be afraid to pose them. They trust you. They hired you. They know that you are the professional that you are, and you're going to make them look great. So don't just sit there with the camera and tell them to do whatever they want, because it's not going to look good. Instead, get the base poses done, hands on the chest, hands around the waist, close in together, and then let them talk. There you go. So just, you know, don't overthink it, you know. And here we have a beautiful moment on the bridge, another candid moment. And this is more of some dramatic shots that you're going to see here. So this one, I just used the reflection on the water. Very beautiful outlook of the whole entire scenery here. And this one here, again, the same scene, but I just zoomed it in so you can see them more. And funny story about this shot, which is one of my favorite shots. This was not planned. More so, we just finished up the first location, And just so you guys know, this was taken at Venice Beach. These locations here was at Venice Canals, literally across the street from the beach. And so we went over to the beach just to kind of check it out, see if we can get more shots. So I saw this opportunity. The clouds were there waiting on us to take this beautiful moment. And so what I've done is pretty much I placed 2 lights here. I'm not sorry. I placed 1 light here and 1 light here. So 1 light on his his side, and 1 light on her side, pointing at each other's faces. And pretty much what I used on that one is 2 mag spheres. And I think my settings were around 132 or lower. It depends. I've totally forgot. I need to start writing this stuff down. But anyway, so what I've done is pretty much expose for the clouds, and then I introduced the lights in. And then once I took the shot, I took multiple shots because those were my test shots. Want to make sure the exposure was right. And then I got to this shot, and this was the one they printed for the reception. People was in awe. This one was crazy. Like, everything about this photo is freaking bomb. Like, I love it. So if you have the opportunity, don't be afraid. Go somewhere else, kind of look out and be prepared. Like, have your lights ready, have your assistant ready, whoever and whatever you have it ready. So when moments like this arise, you're prepared and ready to go. So that pretty much wraps it up. I hope that this helped explain the natural, candid, and dramatic shots. Now I know there's a ton of things that goes with that. Like, for instance, candid shots in terms of like settings on your camera, what location, the vision, dramatic shots, what type of lighting, the settings, the triggers. I mean, it's so much to do, but this one is just touching the basics. Like, honestly, as a beginner photographer, you can go out there, grab some friends, grab some family members, and just tell them like, hey, I want to try out some things I learned. Do you mind if you take an hour or 2 with me? And literally just practice posing. Don't worry about the settings. If you need to leave it on auto, leave it on auto. Just practice these posing techniques that I shared. And honestly, if you have an Instagram or a website, just share it with me. Like, tag me. My Instagram is @TDN and just tag me, you know, say, hey Tim, I've done it and this is what I got. This video is for everybody. Literally, if you're starting out or if you don't even have a camera, this is great because you can take notes, you can save this video and check it out. So I hope this video do help you in some sense. And if so, just leave me a comment. Just let me know, hey Tim, thank you for this video. Or if there's something that you want me to explain in future posing videos, please leave it in the comments below and I'll definitely touch on those. All right, so with that being said, I have more series on the way. This is the first episode, so I'm super excited to start this journey with you all. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Hit me up, let's talk, let's chat. Don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys at the next episode. It's your boy Tim. See you soon.